How we doing, folks out there in internet land and YouTube world? This is Hurricane Holly Bowie coming to you live from the Holly Be Good channel, and I just wanted to give my first attempt at doing a long form video. And some of the topics I want to discuss today are probably going to be a bit controversial, especially in this community. But I think there are things that need to be said. And anyway, what those topics are is poker and health. And what I want to share with you is my journey over the last, I'll call it 3 years, and see if this resonates with anybody. And one thing that I can tell you is that I have found a significant edge in really starting to pay attention to 5 or 6 things. And my brain functions better, my decision making's better, my mental clarity is better. I have more stamina and energy at the table, and all of these things have really, translated into a much higher win rate. And the big thing for me was it's so simple to do, but at the same time, it's just scary. If you look at the political landscape, health is obviously, a topic of partisan divide. You've got, RFK and conservatives in one camp. You've got, big pharma and, the liberals in the other camp. And, basically trying to decide and thread your way through the needle to what is actually right. Because, there's a bunch of bullshit on both sides, and this is my take on it. And and in my mind, if you're watching this, there's a good chance you're a poker player. And poker players, just our lifestyle in general, is probably just not very healthy. I mean, we sit at the table for hours, we're inside, or we're online, or maybe we're both. We're sitting at the table, playing live, and also on Poker Bros or one of the other, WPT apps, or, I don't know, pick one. And it's like our brains need this constant stimulation. And I can tell you, just based on a lot of the research that I did when I decided to run down the rabbit hole and get healthy, all of these things contribute primarily to a lack of good sleep. Well, the other thing that goes along with that is, since we do spend so much time in casinos and poker rooms and that sort of thing, the dietary options that are in those facilities and places where we play, they're just not very good. They're very highly processed carbohydrate type foods, and not to mention then throw into the mix alcohol, vaping, and all the other stuff that we do. And all of which to say is I can't tell you for sure. I'm not a doctor, I'm not formally educated in health. But I can tell you that the gambler in me is betting that cuts our life short. And then if you look across the card rooms, that I've played in, and look at how many people that we've lost young to a myriad of different maladies, cancer, back in the COVID days, COVID, and these are people in their 50s, and that's too young to go to the promised land or downstairs, depending on the person. And what I want to do with my channel is, I kind of want to demonstrate the whole life, right? And that's why I've been kind of doing these shorts, kind of get people excited and all that. But I also want to kind of start illustrating and pointing out ways that, if you take a look at your lifestyle, maybe you can find some things that can help give you some edge on the felt, but also give you an edge on maybe living a little longer and feeling a little better and looking a little better and all that good stuff. And just to let everybody know, I started this, in October of 2023. So what does that make it? A little over, or was it 23? No, October of 2022. So I'm coming up on 3 years. This October will be 3 years. And basically, I was pre-diabetic when I started this. The doctors were trying to put me on statins. They were trying to put me on metformin, all this stuff. And so, as luck would have it, I stumbled onto a Joe Rogan podcast, and Gary Brecka was the presenter. And, Gary Brecka laid out a pretty good strategy. And the cool part about it is not only lay out a good strategy, but he kind of described the whys of each of the components that you needed to look at, as far as trying to get yourself healthy. And as I started kind of going through this process, it was like almost instant. Number one, the first thing I noticed, I started feeling better. Number two, within the first 2 weeks, I dropped like 20 pounds. It was crazy. And a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, Holly, get to it. What is it? Well, it's about a 5 or 6 things that we can all do that can improve our health. Now, the path that I chose, to get myself going up and going and in the right direction, was the first part was carnivore. And basically I just got rid of everything in my diet that came from the plant kingdom. And when I first started, I made a lot of mistakes, didn't understand about electrolytes and all this other stuff, and most of the negative stuff that you see on this diet, out there on the internet and YouTube is there's kind of 2 elements that are naysayers against it. One is processed food companies pay a lot of money to influencers to whenever there's something that is going to cost them some money. And number 2 is people just get dogmatic about what they think and believe in their heart is healthy. And hey, you be you. I don't want to sit here and try and force you into doing what I do. But I think if you pay attention and you want to find an edge on the table, I've got a pretty good recipe. It's helped me tremendously. My win rate has more than doubled since I started doing this. And if you extrapolate that over time, that gives me a pretty solid edge over my competition. And this channel is going to be about helping my audience understand, not necessarily do what I do, but maybe I can give you some a way for you to look in the mirror, and if you want to do better and you want to get better at poker, there's more ways than just studying GTO charts or hiring a coach or these sort of things. And again, guys, I want what's best for our community. The more competition that we have and the better competition that we have, makes us all better. Steel hardens steel. And so this is my first attempt at a long form video. And again, I'm sorry, it probably sucks, but I'm speaking from the heart right now. I really and truly love our community. Poker players, they cover the widest gamut, and obviously everybody knows that I'm a little bit on the unique and wild side. I like to think of it as top shelf, but I don't know, some of you may say throw it in the trash. But anyway, I've rambled on enough for now. This is my first long form video. Thank you for paying attention, watching, liking, subscribe, and you know, hit me up in the comments section. You know, if you want some more information or you'd like to see some more content about this, I'm going to be doing my first real kind of scripted one where I go and you know, put pen to paper and do an outline and all that good stuff on what I call a hard reset. And you know, the hard reset, you know, will basically get your body back in tune with the way that it's supposed to do. And if you've got some interest in that, you know, again, please, those of you that play with me, you know, are welcome to come up and ask me about it. Those that don't are welcome to, you know, hit me on the comments of this video, and I'll keep up with them as best as I can. And thank you very much. And just FYI, I'm fixing to go start session 3 of my 5K challenge. And one thing that I always do before I go sit down and play is I either eat a really big steak and then go play, or I do it fasted. And there's reasons that, you know, I do both. So if you've got some interest in this and you want to know more, I'm going to be putting more content out on it. And hopefully the stuff that I've got can kind of, you know, sink in, and maybe I can do some good for the world. So anyway, thank you very much. Good luck on the tables. And if we're all in together, hopefully I win. Dealer, pick me. See ya.